I'm literally going to walk you guys through something going on in my life that no one knows about except for Tyler and Amber and Chris, my tour manager.
Okay.
And now you, and simultaneously everyone else on the podcast.
Everybody in Yee Nation.
So, Granger Smith Podcast, episode 91.
91.
But
are we started? We're going?
no, we're going.
So I'm going to ask the first question. Is that cool?
We have to at least acknowledge this place.
Why is there no blue board back here, Granger?
That's true.
Why is there no blue board? You want to tell everybody?
I'll tell everybody. We are in the new spot. This is episode 91, but it's the inaugural episode of we're in the new podcast room. We have the reclaimed wood behind us for those of you that are watching on YouTube, but it's a little different. We don't have the blue board.
That's right. People have commented about the blue board. Does anybody else just watch the blue board?
Maybe I should paint. Maybe I should paint right there. So, Bernie Calcoat, guest today.
Thanks for having me back.
One of the all-time favorites. People love you, man. They love when you're here.
Very difficult to follow you and Amber.
Come on.
Y'all are just amazing together. And you have this Yee Nation following you guys and fans of y'all for a reason. So it's been awesome to listen to y'all the last couple weeks.
I'm always surprised that you actually listen when you're not on the episode, that you still listen to the episode.
Yes.
I'm surprised
if I'm
that
on
you
it,
do that.
I don't listen. No way.
Man, I feel you on that.
But
it's hard for me to listen to myself.
But yeah, I love, Pastor Chad and Amber and Tyler,
crazy.
Parker. I love hearing you guys chop it up.
Well, people email Granger Smith Podcast at gmail.com their questions, and they mention you a lot. Like, hey, Granger, and hopefully Bernie, you'll say things like that. We answer questions on this podcast for those that are new. Anything under the sun, could be any kind of question, and we'll talk it through as if we're sitting at a campfire together, me, Burns, and the person asking the question. They say, can I run something by you guys? And we'll just kind of walk through it. No notes. We don't have anything on this table, no notes, or I haven't really read these questions to figure out what I'm going to say. And I like it that way.
Yeah,
we could just go off the cuff. So I have some ready for you today, Burns.
All right, let's do it.
But I want to start with my own.
Okay.
I got something.
Okay.
I got something for you, man. This is good.
Okay.
This is, so guys, I've known Bernie for 21 years, and he's always been the guy for me. And the reason he's on this podcast is so that he could also be the guy for you. But he's been the guy for me that if I'm struggling with something, it could be good or bad. We could maybe have not talked for a month, and I'll call him back, man, I got to talk to you about something. And he always will give me the sound advice that I need. He doesn't necessarily take my side. He'll just give me the advice I need to hear. And that's what I love about him. And that's why he's such a great guest on this podcast. And so I'm literally going to walk you guys through something going on in my life that no one knows about except for Tyler and Amber and Chris, my tour manager.
Okay.
And now you, and simultaneously everyone else on the podcast.
Everybody in Yee Nation.
So here's the deal.
Okay.
This podcast is coming out Monday.
Yep.
So right now, as we're recording it, it's the previous week or before you're hearing it, obviously. Mm-hmm. So on this coming Saturday, we're going to be in Algona, Iowa. Mm-hmm. And this has been something there's been an issue with Algona, Iowa that's been boiling over for the past couple weeks.
Okay.
Chris, it's called Freedom Fest. It's a festival, evidently a big festival in Algona, Iowa. And a lot of bikers go to this. It's kind of known to be a biker rally type festival.
Okay.
Freedom Fest, it's on July 3rd.
Okay.
Right? 4th of July. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, America.
So Chris, my tour manager, advances these shows. And he usually advances about 2 weeks out. That means he gets the final details laid out for where are we going to park. I'm going to confirm our start time. I'm going to confirm that you got all the information I've sent you last month as far as how many people we have, how many meals we need, what time we need lunch, how long our set's going to be. So during that advance of this particular show, something happened that hadn't happened in as long as I've been touring.
Okay.
The guy comes back to Chris and he says, I want to go over this cool down with you and let you know that we will definitely be squeegeeing the stage after the cool down. Chris is like, okay, tell me more about this. So I'm pulling up the exact email so I don't have to paraphrase. He says, the cool down is a big part of the rally. It happens nightly. It's essentially a wet t-shirt contest. Parentheses, most choose not to wear anything at all. It happens on the main stage. The contestants are blocked from accessing any parts of backstage. And this, they will enter and exit from the stairs. And then he goes on just to say, don't worry, we're going to squeegee the stage. It's going to be perfectly fine. But it's such a big part of the rally, I want to let you know what's going on. So I replied to Chris and I said, nix it. That's all I said. Let's nix it. I said, you felt convicted enough to screenshot this. So tell him not to do it. Mm-hmm. And so it caused a big problem. Mm-hmm. They're like, no, we don't nix it. This is a big part of our rally. This is what we do. These girls get up and they get water hosed mm-hmm. on the front of the stage and they dance around and they get judged by the audience. So in my mind, I'm thinking, this is Iowa Yee Nation. Like this is going to be farmer families. Mm-hmm. There's going to be old couples. There's going to be kids. There's going to be people that, with very conservative values that trust me. Mm-hmm. And they trust that that I'm not going to lead them astray mm-hmm. at a show. No matter what their thoughts are, I'm going to stick with, let's make this family friendly. Mm-hmm. So this goes into like booking agency world. This goes into lawyer talk, and they're going back and forth. And I just told Chris, like, well, I guess we're going to cancel. If it comes down to it, I'll just cancel, which really hurts me. These kind of festivals really pay the bills through all the club dates and everything else. And so I'm preparing myself that, we'll have to cancel. We'll mm-hmm. have to figure out financially how to get everybody paid regardless. But we just can't have it. And they're adamant. And so it came all the way, this negotiation thing went on and on. They said, well, could we build a stage 20 feet away? And I said, my stipulations are this. Either it happens before our buses arrive, which is going to be like 8 a.m., or after our buses leave, which is like 2 a.m., or completely out of sight away from my stage. Mm-hmm. And they said no. They said, how about we build a stage 25 feet away? I said no. They said, how about we cover all of your gear? I said no. That doesn't change anything. I'm not trying to protect my image here. I'm trying to protect the fans that'll be on the front, literally the front row. Yeah. Can you imagine if you walked into that, you're just wanting to see a show and mm-hmm. you didn't expect that? It's a fully nude.
With my kids.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
I could tell you where we ended up. Or do you want to comment now?
Okay.
You could jump in now if you want.
I think I would rather hear where it ended up. Sounds like there's a lot on the line.
Keep in mind, Lincoln is coming with me. This has been planned from day one.
Yeah.
He's riding with me the whole weekend.
Okay.
So they come back and they said, my booking agent said, it looks like we'll probably cancel. And I said, I just want to hear it from you, Braden. He's my booking agent. He's a great guy. I said, I want to hear it from you. They're choosing the girls over me. Mm-hmm. And not necessarily me personally, but the headliner of the headlining band. They're mm-hmm. choosing the girls over the headlining band, mm-hmm. taking my ego out of it. And he said, let me just get that out of their mouth. Because I just wanted to, I'm curious.
Yeah.
So they come back, and the final thing they said, will Granger take $10,000 less of his pay, and we won't do it at all? And so I said, yeah. I said, sure. If this is a money thing, that's what it's about, then yeah, well, you could cut $10,000 That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I said, sure, I'm not going to fight any more than that.
Yeah.
If that's what it's about. So they said this is the first time in 36 years they will not do the cool down at Freedom Fest in Algona, Iowa.
Amen. So let me ask you, how do you feel about that decision?
Well,
How do you feel about your?
I struggle with it, and once again, straight up on the podcast, this is like a phone conversation between me and you. But
sure,
straight up, I struggled with it, and first I felt anger. First I felt like, well, I'm just going to go on that stage. I'm just going to tell everyone in the crowd exactly what happened, that they literally stole $10,000 from my touring company, band, crew, management, everyone that's involved in that, that gets paid from that kind of thing. Yeah. And Chris was like, man, you can't do that. There's like a safety issue involved. Like, what if people throw things at you? Like, what if there's bikers that come just to see that and they find out you're the catalyst of why they don't see it?
Yeah.
They can get mad. And I was like, I should be so blessed to be persecuted in that way, right?
Right.
But there's a fine line.
Sure.
Like, you don't want to be stupid.
Yeah.
So I haven't totally, here we sit doing this podcast, 4 days away from this happening. So I don't know. I do know I'm going to get off the bus and I want to shake that guy's hand and look him in the eye, not to be mean, but I just want to say I'm glad we came to an agreement. I'm not going to apologize. I can't. Yeah. I'm so sorry to put you through this kind of trouble. I'm not going to say that, but I do want to say, thank you for being patient and coming to this agreement with us. And then I want to have Lincoln with me.
Yeah.
So that he could see kind of part of the motivation.
Yeah.
So what's that's my email.
I think that this is part of the reason I think there's so many people that follow this podcast, are fans of you guys, is because you're, one, willing to talk about things like this publicly, and how you're walking through these things. It keeps the perception of you being just a real person dealing with, real struggles and trying to live, the way that you feel convicted to live and stand true to those truths. And I think that everybody out there is kind of trying to do the same thing. Like, man, I believe this. And now all of a sudden I have this situation that is kind of, I'm put into this position where I have to discern what path do I take and how do I stand behind what I believe, but yet still be considerate of, a lot of people that rely on you. And I think it needs to be acknowledged that Granger and Amber have to make these decisions and discernments on a very public stage. Most of the time, nobody's like, I'm not, in that great of an arena to have to and great of an impact on people's lives, fans and a big crew and band and everything. So I think that needs to be acknowledged, just that, God has given you the strength and the grace to navigate this. He's given you the tools as well. I think that there always is the opportunity for grace to shine through.
Right.
And knowing you, at the end of the day, when we get 5 years past this, you're going to want to look back on it and say, man, did I exhibit grace?
Yeah, that's great advice for me.
Did the people involved feel like, man, because grace, somebody put it this way, it's unmerited favor.
Yeah.
It's
right.
favor.
Unmerited.
It's favor that they did not merit. They didn't earn it. And so was there grace extended and given and shown and displayed through the way that you kind of navigated this? And sometimes if people are just cold and their hearts are hard and they're very selfish and just all in themselves, they're not going to grace is offensive to them. So they're just not,
Right.
they're not going to understand it. And it's not your place to make them understand. It's your place to just display it and live it out. And I think the real...
And I'll sleep better at night doing that too.
That's right.
When we do give grace in that way, we feel peace and calm regardless of how they react to it, regardless if they're offended by the grace. We're going to go to bed and lay our head on the pillow and go, I felt good about today.
Yeah. I will be anxious to hear how this goes. But
I want to say
just if we're, if nobody's here and you're talking to me on the phone, dude, I think you did the right thing. And who knows what kind of conversations that this will, produce. Yes, there's still going to be a world that just wants to go see girls get water sprayed on them and see them naked, and that's still going to be in the world.
Yeah.
Like, you not doing this show or doing this show for less or whatever is not going to take that away. But we have to, and I know you have to, and feel a conviction to be a positive and godly example to your fans and leading them to that. I think you're absolutely right. People could be just, whoa, this is not Yee Nation. They would be real confused, and you would probably get a lot of emails like, hey man, I brought my family to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, I came to see you and I've been listening to your podcast.
Right. Someone could have been listening to the podcast and then that's their first show.
Yeah.
So let me say, I have to insert here that this is not a moral high ground battle for me. I'm not any better than these people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you know this, but I'm kind of just saying it publicly on this podcast. I don't feel any better than they are morally, or I don't feel like I'm a inherently better person on the inside, or I was born better, or I was raised by better parents, or I have a better circle of friends, and therefore I don't partake. I'm not any of those things. What it truly comes down to is I have an authority above me that's different than they have, and I have a fear of that authority. My fear of God and what He expects from me is much greater than their perception of me. Or I'm sure they think, this guy is the biggest prude pansy. We've dealt with bands for 36 years, and no male testosterone singer has ever said, I don't want to see that on my stage. Who is this guy? Who's he think he is? So I realize that is far less a concern to me than the fear of the God that I worship.
And not for any like egotistical or self-righteous reason, but I think that you should be proud of that if you are the first one in 30 how many ever years.
It's kind of cool.
You know what I mean?
It's like, it's kind of cool.
And kind of like, wow, how has nobody in 36 years had an issue with this?
So to your point of who knows what conversations will happen, who knows next year when the band comes in and goes, really? That's what you guys do? Then they might say, well, last year Granger Smith actually opted out. And then they can go, us too.
Yeah.
We're opting out.
Yeah.
Maybe that could happen. Instead of saying no one in 36 years has said no, and then the band might go, I guess it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say on the other side of the flip side of this whole deal, I want to say that it still blows me away that we as a band are even worth something that if you take 10,000 out of the paycheck, we're still going to play it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to let that just slide like they're taking 10 grand from me. That is a big deal.
Yeah.
It still is a big deal. I'm blown away that we could, because for most of my career, 90% of it, we didn't earn over $1,000.
Yeah, 100% of my career. So
I actually remember my first $1,000 show, and that was a massive deal. So I don't want to just throw that number out like I'm in any way bragging. I do want to throw the number out though to say the severity of what these people are doing is significant.
Yeah.
I've never heard of someone taking $10,000 from any company like this because of a moral conviction.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
There we go. That's my question to Bernie today.
All right. I mean, you couldn't have thrown like a Calvinist question like last week at me, right? It had to be.
I think I saw one of those in these questions.
I also think that you have, honestly, man. I know Chris. I know your band. I know Tyler. You got a great team that believes in you, and man, when you have that culture, it's not dependent on one decision of this and this. It's like ride or die. Hey, I'll run through a brick wall, man. Let's go. And Yee Nation, after last week's podcast and reading all the comments, man, they support you, and I think they'll continue to do it regardless.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, shout out to Chris for catching that in the advance and going and screenshot it and be like,
yeah,
we'll send this to Granger.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into your questions, guys. This is anything you email to grangersmithpodcast@gmail.com. And I have a bunch that I have ready for Burns today, and I wanted to kind of start with a kind of a looser, easier one. Here's one subject line is music.
Okay.
It says, "Hey Granger, my name is Mark. I'm a huge fan of your music. I'm a local musician from Wichita, Kansas. I play guitar and I'm a singer. I've been playing music since 2006. I've been in and out of bands since 2008. I've always had trouble finding the right people to make music with. And I've always had trouble finding the right producers that could teach me more about making music. My biggest dream is to play music and make music for a living, and then play Algona, Iowa, and have them take $10,000 from me." My question is, how'd you get into playing music?
You're making dreams for kids out here.
So this is another question, Burns, you and I have gotten before. How do you find band members, and what advice do you have for an aspiring musician as myself? And I love reading these because you are also a musician. Yeah. So first of all, I want to say that there's a different world than when I was kind of coming up, and there's a different world on the internet and YouTube. And when you say having trouble finding the right producers who could teach me more about making music, man, there's a lot of them on YouTube right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, it's a different world now. For sure.
How do we direct Mark in Wichita, Kansas? Shout out to Kansas. How do we kind of direct him to finding the right band?
Yeah,
I have one idea. I think there's still a Guitar Center in Wichita, Kansas. I'm pretty sure. That's usually a good place.
Yeah.
You go to Guitar Center.
Yeah.
And you go to any guy that's working the counter.
Yeah.
And be like, "Hey, my name's Mark. I'm struggling finding band members." Well, those guys at Guitar Center have seen every band member come through Wichita, Kansas.
Yep, that's right.
At the counter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's you got to get out and meet people, and you got to understand that probably the first 3 or 4 people you cycle through the band may not click, and you just gotta, hey, let's just jam, let's get together and play, let's get together and play. I don't think you get too far ahead. I think you've said this before in this answer. Like, he said he wants to. How do I, find a producer to make music, and I want to do music as a career and make, I think you can't jump too far ahead, man. Like you got to just start with finding the right people to play with.
That's a good,
and see what
point.
Music comes, and see what the culture of the band is, and what everybody else in the band's desire. And if they're like, yeah, we want to make a record too, and then you guys collectively can find a producer, and then a tour manager, and then, you don't put on the balcony before the foundation. You
That's perfect. And I want to say, Mark, you say my biggest dream is to play music and make music for a living. So let's change that to my biggest dream is to have fun playing music.
Yeah.
You switch that and stop worrying about making a living with it, because I know Bernie and I, when we first started, that wasn't the goal. Wasn't I want to make a living with this. It was just like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I'll make a living around it so that I can do it.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, you're in the right place. Go to your local music store. If anyone's listening, I see a lot of questions like this. If you're wondering about, go to your local music store hang out with those guys. Meet them. Meet the guys at the counter. Tell them your predicament. They probably know someone, if not themselves, that could help you out. All right, let's go to how about this one? It's called Texas Road Trip. It says, "Hey Granger, this is Danny from Ludwigsburg, Germany. I want to ask you, what are your favorite spots in Texas for a road trip that my wife and I are planning to do soon? We'd love to spend 3 to 4 weeks, travel around the whole state of Texas, starting and maybe ending in Dallas. I'm assuming because of the airport. So that would be awesome to get to know your must-to-go places. Of course, Georgetown and Austin is always on our list. I hope you like our snack package that we sent. Thank you so much, buddy. Yeah, you guys are awesome." And so I'm assuming Danny wants to use Dallas as a hub. That's what
Fly
I would
in and then travel around. Mm-hmm. Where are they coming from?
Germany. So
from Germany.
Ludwigsburg, Germany. So you could also use Houston, Danny. Houston's another international city in Texas. Austin has very limited. So you could do Dallas, rent a car, go work your way. Yeah, that's what he should do. Fly into Dallas and work his way south until he gets to Austin. See the sights in Austin. Mm-hmm. You should go to Fredericksburg.
Yep.
And Texas see all the German heritage. I don't know if you want to see German heritage when you're coming from Germany, but it's kind of cool.
And New Braunfels,
New Braunfels, totally, yeah.
Yeah, Schlitterbahn and the Canal Guadalupe River down there.
Yeah. If I were you, Danny, I would go and explore the German heritage of Texas. Eat a couple restaurants, and it might not be intriguing to you, but eat a couple German restaurants in New Braunfels or Fredericksburg, and meet a culture of people that settled there in the 1800s from your country.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Then you could work your way down to San Antonio, right? See the Riverwalk.
Yep. Alamo.
Go see the Alamo. There's a lot of cool things in San Antonio. And then from San Antonio, hit I-10, and then you go to Houston.
I mean, if they're going to be here, he said 2 to 3 weeks.
So then you can go to Galveston.
Go down to Galveston or go down to Port A and then work his way up the coast all the way to Galveston to Houston. That's a long time, 2 to 3 weeks.
And then fly out of Houston.
Yeah.
That'd be my thought. So then you're seeing a little bit of East Texas, a little bit of the hill country. You got to see the hill country because when you see some of the hill country, you're going to think, oh, that's the Texas. When you see like the cattle, and you're gonna that's the Texas I had in my mind. That's the ranches I had in my mind, and you'll see that on your way like out to Fredericksburg and Luckenbach. It'd be cool to stop at Luckenbach. So yeah, I think that's good job, Bernie.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back with some more questions.
All right.
Podcast brought to you guys today by Ritual. We deserve to know what we're putting in our bodies and why, especially when it comes to something we take every single day. Ritual's clean, vegan-friendly vitamin is formulated with high-quality nutrients in bioavailable forms that your body can actually use. What you won't find is sugars, GMOs, major allergens, synthetic fillers, and artificial colorants. Plus, the fresh taste and delayed release capsule design makes taking your vitamins every single day super easy. Now, I'm always really weary about taking vitamins. I've got a sensitive stomach, so when I just find something off the shelf that says "good for men" or whatever at a supplement store or a vitamin shop or CVS, Walgreens, something like that, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Ritual is different, and whatever they do, whatever the extra care they put into making sure that these are high quality nutrients for your body. Whatever they do, it's easy on me and my stomach, makes me feel better, and I still get the vitamins, the supplements that I need. It should contain key nutrients in your body, in forms that your body can actually use, which is what Ritual does. It helps fill the gaps in your diet, these nutritional gaps, with nothing extra, no shady extras. Has a delayed release capsule design that delivers high quality nutrients, including vitamin D3 in just 2 daily pills. So you'll know exactly what you're taking, exactly where they come from, thanks to Ritual's one-of-a-kind visible supply chain. It's now available for women, men, and teens. Ritual multivitamins are scientifically developed to help support different life stages. Your vitamins are delivered to your doorstep. This is awesome. Every single month with free shipping, always. You can start, snooze, or cancel the subscription anytime. And if you don't love Ritual within your first few months, they're going to refund your entire order. Get key nutrients without the BS. Ritual is offering my listeners 10% off your first 3 months. Visit ritual.com/Granger to start your ritual today. Podcast today is also brought to you guys by Raycon. I've spoke about these people so much, and whether it's for work or play, you're going to be on the move this summer. Take my advice. You're going to need your Raycons. Raycons are awesome earbuds, wireless earbuds that they seal off your ears so you can't hear all that extra noise. And they deliver high quality, good sounding audio, whether it's this podcast you're listening to or maybe my latest album, Country Things, whatever you're deciding to listen to. Raycons is going to give you the quality that you need. You're going to get crisp, powerful beats at half the price of other premium audio brands. Raycon, they look better, they feel great, they come in a range of cool colors with customizable gel tips included for a comfortable in-ear fit. Raycons are built to go wherever you go. For me, I love to use them on airplanes because it blocks out all the noise, and I travel a lot. I also use them on the bus when we're rolling down the road. They have quick, seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case, and the battery lasts a really long time. So it doesn't matter if you're working out or if you're going on a long trip. They have a really good battery life. So listen up. Raycon's offering 15% all their products from my listeners, and here's what you're going to do to get it. Go to buyraycon, that's RAYCON.com/Granger. There, you'll get 15% off your entire Raycon order. That's such a good deal. You're going to grab a pair and also get a spare. That's way cheaper than so many of these premium brands, and they give you better audio quality. That's 15% off buyraycon.com/Granger. That's buyraycon.com/Granger. All right, let's dig into some questions, and I'm going to kick it over to you, Burns.
I've noticed that you got a little stubble today, man. Is this after the podcast question about you growing up? Are you trying to
No, it ain't going to work.
No?
I need a shave. That's just laziness.
Okay, we'll see.
All right, I'm going to kick it over to you. We have Bible question. We have softball question. We have some advice, parents, finding friends, brain or soul. How much money should I have? I'm in a predicament. Head-on collision cost my husband his leg. Man of the house, and then we have a no subject. Do any of those stand out for the next one?
I don't know if the softball question is about softball or if it's just like an easy one.
It's just an easy one.
But I love softball, playing a men's softball league before. I got injured like the third game because I'm old, but let's go with softball question.
Said I would like to begin by just being grateful for how much you give to your fans and your humble words of advice. I would wonder if you can give me some advice. I would like to be anonymous. I'm struggling with mental health. I get anxious. Dude, I'm sorry, Burns. I read the wrong one.
Okay, I was like, that doesn't feel like a softball question.
I actually hit the wrong one, but we'll keep going.
Okay, keep going.
It says, it's interesting.
It was like a slider in softball somehow.
Sovereignty of God, I actually hit the wrong one.
Okay.
Maybe we needed to read this.
Okay.
I'm struggling with mental health. I get depressed quickly, but I've learned to live in the present. And I have low expectations and higher gratefulness. I have a good methodical morning routine, which begins at 6 a.m. It consists of what your podcast says with a warm hot chocolate, etc. But it seems I'm a different person in the morning. How do I keep being that morning person? I know exactly what you mean. Living with the purpose to do God's will, but being the person that I would like to be. I would like to be more grateful. I would like to be nice to everyone I meet. And I feel like I'm not as good or something. I don't quite know how to get along with others. Please give me some advice. Sorry for my bad reading here. So we have an anonymous person. I'll respect that. And it is a she. and let me kind of paraphrase. She's struggling with depression and anxiety, but she's starting her morning routine, getting up at 6. Sounds like she's drinking some hot chocolate, doing some reading, and she feels great. And then as the day starts going on, that starts wearing away, and she starts to become snappy and not nice, and she wants to be able to maintain. And I feel that in a lot of ways.
Yeah. When we get to be by ourselves, usually we're pretty good. It's when other people, we have to interact with other people, that it's like,
absolutely.
I have to be kind to these people and patient, and it starts to expose what's really inside of us.
And there's a real thing called decision fatigue.
Yeah.
The more decisions you make, you start wearing down, and you only have so many you're capable of in a day, which is why some of the crazy billionaires of the world, you'll notice they wear the same thing every day. Like they'll wear a black t-shirt and black pants every single day. Like their whole closet is that, because they've got it down to a science where they actually believe that every decision matters. I believe that too. And taking the decision of what you're going to wear out gives you availability for one more decision that day. Amber and I talked about this yesterday because we're moving into this house, and I told her, I said, hey, these next few days, be aware of decision fatigue. Because when you get a couch in and you go, maybe it should go the other way. No, put the 2 chairs. And then you do that enough, we're going to start getting snappy with each other. We're going to start getting frustrated with the kids. We're going to have a lot of decision fatigue. So I think you're feeling that in this email. And I think you're on a great path, because first of all, you care. You are aware that you're doing this, like the key, like becoming aware that you're becoming snappy. So what do you Burns, what do you tell this person?
Well, they mentioned depression, anxiety, right? I think those 2 words, one, are a lot more prevalent in this culture now than they ever have been. 2, I think there are words that can be used kind of flippantly sometimes. So if this is actual like clinical depression, this is, I would see a medical professional. I would see a therapist or a counselor, and I would maybe talk through the severity of this depression, knowing people that have struggled with depression all the way to like suicidal, check you into a hospital level, to, hey, I just get emo, sad sometimes, and like I think there's different levels of that. So I would talk to somebody. If you have a community of folks, if you can ask around, hey, I don't think that these things need to be something that's kind of hush hush, like talking about mental health, seeking help for mental health. We do it for everything else, for spiritual health, for physical health. There's no qualm about going to a trainer, because, man, I feel like I need a dietitian and I need things for my body that, I would suggest that. And then past that, I mean, really, I think what's getting exposed, throughout the day is just our, this person's, humanity, and what's on the inside, and how much patience they have, and how much compassion they have, and humility. And so I don't know how to, other than, going back to, the Spirit of God, going back to God's Word, being surrounded by community that is pointing you in that direction, and being prayerful. Like, just start to pray diligently that God would sustain you throughout the day, and just see what happens. I think you start simple.
It's all great advice, and we're going to tell you every time that if you're struggling with anxiety or depression, to seek medical help on top of your wise counsel, and because there might be a medication involved that you need. And I'm not qualified to tell you about that, but there's a doctor that is. So I know that that sometimes there's just something going on up there that medication can help.
Absolutely.
So there might be that. I want to say one more thing, because I think Bernie wrapped it up perfectly. There's one more thing I want to challenge you with, and that during your morning quiet time, and you feel calm and you feel peace, challenge yourself as you move into the day to stay present and stay aware of yourself and your mood changing, and try to identify what's causing that. I say that because when I challenge myself to that, I do a lot better. And when I start recognizing what's causing me to do that, then I see it in another situation. So for example, if I get mad at two people in a row, in two different scenarios, my brain it sets off an alarm and goes, uh-oh, it's not them.
Right.
There's a common denominator.
Yep.
What's going on? And then I'll go, that early flight this morning, they got me. Okay, so that means if I did it twice, I'm going to do it 3 times. And I'm going to do it probably the rest of the day. Somebody's going to say something or text me or call me, or I'm going to get an email or see a comment on Instagram, and I'm going to go off. I'm going to get mad. And so then I go, it's not them. So my point is to you, emailer, recognize when you're getting triggered, and then try to place the trigger. Like, maybe it's caffeine. Maybe it's lack of sleep. Maybe it's something else, but you could start finding out, I know why. Instead of it's not them, it's not their fault. The world's going to do what the world's going to do. You can only control yourself and how you react to it. So go into the day during your quiet time and just challenge yourself. Like, I'm going to go in, and the first time I feel myself triggering to not being nice, I'm going to go, there it is. Why am I doing that? And try to find something besides the other person to blame for that. Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, mental health is definitely not something to take lightly.
No.
Yeah, there's many, many layers to it. So we wish you the best, and hope that you can find some wise counsel and some help.
This is an interesting question here. The subject line is parents.
Okay.
And this is a short one. It says, "Hey Granger, I'm 12 years old. I'm from Lanigan, Saskatchewan, a small town in Canada where I grew up. I have a divorced parents, and I'm wondering if I should treat my step parents like my real parents. And if you don't have an answer, then how do I ask God?"
Wow.
This guy's name is Ben. So Ben is 12. He's in Canada.
He's 12.
He's 12. Listening to the podcast, emailing us. And it's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I should treat my step parents like my real parents. What do you?
So I'm guessing that mom and dad split, and then they both got remarried, or maybe one of them, and so
something
they have
like that. Yeah.
Ay.
First of all, before you even start, Burns, let's just say, I'm sorry, Ben. This is not on. None of this is on you. And I hate that this is the world and this is how it is, and that you even have to deal with this at all.
Yep.
Because a 12-year-old shouldn't have to be thinking like this.
Yep. Ben, I've been through this right about your age, actually. I didn't have to, for a long time, I didn't have to go through the parents, the step parents and the parents getting remarried. But I know that feeling of, why did this happen and how do I respond? Because it really is, and this is like every question, every situation that gets put in front of us, for anybody out there and for us, for the same thing with the concert. It's our response. We can control our response. We cannot control, you can't control your parents. You can't control your step parents. What you can control is your response. I know you're 12, so let's first stop and say, give yourself some grace. You're still learning. Like, your brain is not fully developed yet. I don't know if ours are, much less a 12-year-old. So just give yourself some grace. Take a deep breath and just, first of all, celebrate the fact that Granger picked your email. That's pretty cool. Go tell all your friends. You don't have to say like what it was about and that you just kind of like left your heart out for the Yee Nation to see. Let's just start with the fact that, hey, this is kind of cool. You live in a world where your, country music idol, you have access to him and you can get advice from him. What a world we live in.
Oh, man.
So past that, Ben, give yourself some grace. As far as how to treat your step parents, I think that if you start to think about what grace is, and you start to give that to yourself and lower the expectations of yourself, that maybe you can also start to view your step parents that way. And my guess is that they really love you and they want you to feel safe and they want you to learn and they want to support you. And so if you can ever get to the point where you can give them that opportunity, I think that's a great response. But there's a lot to navigate there and you're still learning. So I would just say give yourself some grace to make some mistakes and that your parents should be older and more mature and be able to help you navigate.
Yeah.
What you think, Chris?
Yeah, I think I can't speak as well as you can about this, but I could say you can't go wrong, Ben, with just treating them with respect. And that kind of comes regardless on if they treat you good or bad. Because let's put myself in the situation when I'm going to Algona, Iowa this weekend. I'm going to treat this guy with respect. Mm-hmm. The dude took $10,000 from me. Mm-hmm. And he obviously has a lot, that he's going to say about me. But if I come in with respect, just treating him with respect, mm-hmm. And once again, I could say you could treat in war, you could treat the opposing enemy with respect.
Yeah. And
so it has nothing to do with maybe these step parents are terrible people. Maybe they're abusive in some way. It still doesn't change the fact that you could still treat them with respect. You don't have to respect somebody to treat them with respect.
That's right? A good point. Yeah.
So treat them with respect, regardless of how you feel, and you're going to get the best from that. You're going to get the best version of them in response to your respect you're giving them. So, use your yes sirs and yes ma'ams and obey the best that you can if it's obliging morally, and you're going to get that right back to you. So, and I'm sorry you have to go through this, brother.
Yep.
We have Bible question. We have finding friends. We have brain or soul. We have how much money should I have? I'm in a predicament.
Let's do how much money should I have.
All right. Hey, my name is Derek. I'm from Battleground, Washington. First of all, I want to say I love your podcast, Music and Family. Your videos make my day. Thank you, buddy. I got a chance to see you at the Clark County Fair in 2008 with my wife, girlfriend at the time. I have 2 questions for you. First, I'm 20 years old, I'm married, and I have a kid on the way. I'm an electrician apprentice and almost able to become a journeyman. I make about $60,000 a year. It's awesome. But I still always feel like I'm way behind. I feel like I don't ever have enough money in the bank, especially for how much I make. I don't feel like I spend a lot, but I just can't help but think that everyone my age has way more money saved up and I'm way behind. Given my age and how much I make, how much money do you think I should have in the bank? I don't have car loans or any major bills. I just rent, which is $10.75 a month. My second question is, my wife is 24 weeks pregnant. And we're having a boy, and I still don't have a name picked out. Did you have that problem with your previous kids? How do you go about it? Thank you for everything. God bless.
I thought he was going to ask for recommendations on a name. And I had some names.
He kind of did. I mean, he said, how do you go about it?
There's not many Bernies in the world. I'm just saying, like, if you want to contribute,
yeah,
you do that.
I love that.
Or Grangers, So this is kid number 2 at 21 years old.
Is that what he said? Yeah. Like pregnant. Let's see. Is that what he said?
I thought in the first part he said, I'm 20 years old, I'm married and have a
kid on the way.
Oh, kid on the way.
This is the first one.
So this is the first one.
First
okay.
one. 60,000 is a lot for 20 years old. To me, in my mind, maybe I'm out of touch, but that seems like a lot for 20.
I made $15,000 maybe.
I was going to say
whenever I was that old.
I was going to say that's about 3 times what I made.
Yeah.
I think I made about 20. So
yeah.
And that's good. And I when I was making 20,000, I thought I was crushing it. I was like, man, I got so much money.
Hey, I mean, I think, perception and contentment is a big part of money management, right?
Yeah. I mean, you knew me then. I was like, I had an apartment. It was like $600 a month. And I thought that was expensive. But looking at it now, like $600. But that's all I had to pay was that, and then food and gas.
Yeah. Was that that first place you moved in Nashville that I came to?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was paying that, and then I still had like $500 a month.
I did
left over.
I thought you were rich, man. When I came to visit you, I was like, oh man, we can't be friends. This guy's rich.
Making 20 G's, baby. 20 G's a year.
Oh.
All right. So he's. I would shoot him over to Dave Ramsey with like some of these questions.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is money management and restraint. Mm-hmm. Understanding what you have, what you're spending money on, and being able to exercise restraint to like, okay, we don't need to do that. We don't need this to be happy. We need to live below our means. And I mean, I can only speak to my own experience. I love living below my means. I love, and Leslie and I have talked about wanting people to, by the way that we are generous, think that we have so much more money than we do.
Yeah.
But by the way we live, think we have so much less money than we actually do. So, I don't know. Take that for what it's worth.
I love that. So, I'll get specific with you, Derek, because Dave Ramsey, who you could go and I'm sure he has YouTube videos or something, but he has really good books. It's all about money. So Dave would say, to answer your question specifically, how much money should I have in the bank? Dave would say $1,000. Mm-hmm. Should have $1,000 as a safety net. And that's he calls it an emergency fund. $1,000 emergency fund. If you don't have $1,000 in the bank, that's okay. Not a lot of people do. So you just start building that 1,000. But once you get to the 1,000, don't touch it. That's your emergency fund. Put it somewhere where you don't touch it. It's for emergencies only. It's for the house gets flooded and you need that extra cash. So you leave it and you don't touch it, and then you start building. After you have the 1,000, your next step is you want to work towards, according to Dave Ramsey, you want to work towards 3 months of all your bills. Mm-hmm. So add up all your bills. You said you got $1,075 a month for your rent. So you take that times 3. You take your cell phone, your wife's cell phone times 3. You add all that up, whatever that number is. Then that's your next goal. So that's $5,600. So that's your next goal. Have $5,600. That means you get in a car accident and you lose your job, and your wife gets laid off, and every worst case scenario happens. The pandemic hits, whatever. It all hits at the same time. Now you got 3 months to live on. You have 3 months in the bank to live on, and you would think that 3 months, 90 days is enough time to kick something else over, to get a new job, to start a new piece of income. So that's, once again, not my philosophy. Or it is, but it's from Dave Ramsey. And that's being very specific. So $1,000, and then once you get it, 3 months. Second question is, and before I go back to Burns, it's also being frugal and having good management, which is not easy when you're 20. I was terrible. It's not easy. You got a lot more responsibility at your 20 than I did at my 20. So it's not easy, and it's kind of learned. It's a learned trait, and you'll just learn it and you'll practice it. You're emailing me, so you care. So that's great. Baby names. Burns, did you have baby names picked out at 24 weeks pregnant?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. No, not for Boston. Stella came through foster care and adoption, so she was emergency placement. So we decided her name after she came. And then Jet, I think the kids actually named Jet, but it wasn't till he was almost here.
Something I see with Derek is and it's just probably natural when you're 20, you seem to be thinking a lot about whatever everyone else is doing. So you like you said, I can't help but think that everyone my age has a lot more money saved up and I'm way behind. And you're also kind of insinuating that a lot of other people have their kids already named and you don't.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this, I would just say, just pump the brakes a little bit, man.
Yeah. And people don't have, most of our culture, the way that we kind of, nobody has as much money as you think they have.
Yeah,
right? Is that fair to say?
Absolutely right.
Like,
yeah, I have $10,000 less than anyone thinks.
we just perceive things to be like, oh man, they did this, so they must have like all this. When actually they've like racked up another $12,000 on another credit card in order to do that. It's all perception. It's not reality. It's not real. The best thing you can do, honestly, is follow Granger's advice, because Dave Ramsey, after you get to that point, he will start attacking your debt and telling you, somebody who has gone from, very much in debt and making no money and being very poor at managing it. That moment when you're just debt free, you don't have any debt, is a really great feeling. And Leslie and I went through the Dave Ramsey thing too, and it was a catalyst for it. So
yeah, we did too. And what does he call it? Baby steps? Is that something like that? The steps to freedom. And then he has people call on this radio show, and they'll announce that they're debt free, and it's like this big celebration. And then once you're debt free, including the emergency funds you've saved up, then you could really start some fun stuff. Like your kids' college funds and different things. You want to hit one more?
Yep.
This one popped right up, so I'm going to read it. It says, I'm in a predicament. Hey, Granger, my name is Aaron. I'm 21 from North Texas. I've been dating this girl for 5 years. And for the first year, it was great. She let me hang out with my friends and do all the guy stuff. But now, the past 4 years, I feel like I've turned my back on all my friends because she doesn't like them. Back in 2019, I had a good friend pass away, and I missed out hanging with him because my girlfriend didn't like me hanging out with my friends. And now I'm afraid I'm going to miss out on another friend because she won't let me hang out and do what I want to do. This is an easy one. Say it.
I don't know. Well,
Say it, Burns.
No, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to not jump straight to that dumper that you said last time. And I'm trying to think. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah,
dumper.
Just dumper. Just leave her. No, I'm trying to think about this girl. And what if this dude is just hanging out with sleazeballs? And she's like trying to say, hey, what's his name?
Absolutely
Did
right.
he say his name?
His name's Aaron.
Aaron. And she loves Aaron. She's like, Aaron, you could be such a great dude. These guys.
You're so right.
Because, I have been in a situation where I was hanging out with the wrong people. And if I would have continued that, by the grace of God, I was, it wasn't a woman that, turned me, but another way. So I'm just trying to see both sides of it. So one, Aaron, check yourself. Are your friends like constantly, throwing up in the middle of the night because you've drank too much? Are you constantly doing things that have the police called on you? If it's just like, hey, I just want to go, watch a game with the guys and hang out, and there's nothing. Where's it coming from? If it's the girl's insecurity, I would say
it's good.
You got to dump her. And also, 5 years to date is a long time.
Yep.
Like
Bingo.
I think we dated like a year, 2 years, maybe.
Bingo. You're hitting everything. Just rewind it and listen to everything Burns said. I don't have to say anything. But yeah.
Granger's just going to say, just dump her.
Like my first
Next
thought,
question.
I read it. My first thought, like we're sitting around a campfire. We're all buddies. And Aaron's like, guys, can I tell you something? And then I'm kind of offended because I'm at the campfire with him. And so I'm one of the guys that she wants, to get rid of.
Yeah.
But so my first thought is just dump her because that's crazy. But then my second thought is 5 years, like, maybe she's getting kind of pissed that you're still dating after 5 years and you're not making a commitment. Then I start thinking maybe Bernie's right. Like maybe some of the friends you shouldn't be hanging out with anyone. But then he says one of them passed away. So then I feel bad because then I feel like I'm being disrespectful for the one that passed away because he was a good dude.
But that also created some kind of animosity or bitterness towards the girl. Like, hey, I didn't get to hang out with him before he died because of you. Yeah. And it's like, here's the answer, Aaron, and I really believe this. It's not exact, but here's the answer. Communicate.
Yeah.
You got to communicate. This is the thing that we have become the worst at, and we just want to text. Don't talk about this through a text if you are. Like, you guys need to just sit for a while and really dig into these things. And honestly, if you're not in that place and that's not something you want to do, you probably need to dump her anyway because she needs to go find a dude that knows how to communicate and wants to fight for the relationship. And if she's not willing to do that, you need to dump her because you need that. But you got to communicate. All these things you're feeling, if she doesn't know this, you guys are just like separating. So there's no use continuing unless you're trying to get back to the same path and move forward. Communicate.
I got no words, man. That's it. I appreciate you emailing, man. It always weirds me out when I see stuff like this because I've been there, been in those kind of situations, and usually without hearing, we need her to email this girl.
Yeah.
Will you email?
When did this come in?
This came in May 11th. We need her to email us.
Yeah.
She's going to tell us a different side of the story.
Okay.
But all that being said, if I'm totally on Aaron's side, if I haven't heard from her, I've been in situations like Aaron, and it's weird if a girl starts not letting you hang out with your friends. It's just a bad sign. You got to dump her.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Let's get out of here.
I would
Burns.
say get out early, but you've been in 5 years already, so
right. I've never been in a 5-year relationship besides Amber. That's a long time.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get out of here, guys. But at first, I want to kick out a few shout outs. Courtney Pattison, Katie K, Amanda Rania. Here's one. It says, "Hey, I'm Shelly Haley from Center, Texas. Shout out to Shelly." Sarah Miller. Shout out. We used to know Sarah Miller, or I did at least. Birthday shout out to Tommy Schoenhard for his 22nd birthday. His birthday's July 14th, so I'm early on that.
Nice.
Every time I do shout outs, I have trouble with the names. Here, Alan Graham. I got that one from Alabama. Shout out. Thank you guys for listening. Love all y'all and love you, Burns.
You too, man.
See you next time.
First podcast, number 91, first podcast in the new spot.
In the new spot. If
done.
it looks or sounds bad, I promise I'll figure that out after it's out, and then I'll make those corrections.
Yep. See you next time.
Love you guys. Yee. Thanks for joining me on the Granger Smith Podcast. I appreciate all of you guys. You could help me out by rating this podcast on iTunes. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, hit that little like button and the notifications bell so that you never miss any time I upload a video. If you have a question for me that you would like me to answer, email grangersmithpodcast@gmail.com. Yee.